Okay guys, so in this episode, which I am planning on being a part of the Bioactive Basics series, I'm going to be showing you how to fully seal the base of a wooden vivarium to protect it from rotting. And then after I've gone through the informational part of this video, I'm going to be talking about some exciting things that are going to be happening in the near future. So let's crack on with the video. So when it comes to housing your reptile or even amphibian, there are basically two options of housing that I would recommend, and they are glass vivariums like the Exoterra ones and also wooden enclosures. Now, there are benefits to each of them, but in the UK, basically the main form of housing that we use is the wooden enclosure. But the problem with wooden enclosures, this is the biggest drawback, is that they aren't waterproof. So in today's video I do aim to take you through how I've waterproofed two vivariums, or at least the bottom of them, just so that I can put like a damp substrate in so that I can maintain them as bioactive, but I'm not going to be worried about the veneer coming away or even worse, the chipboard rotting. So it is kind of obvious that pond liner is a really good thing to use to seal an enclosure. However, a lot of times that I've seen it, it's peeled away from the side of the enclosure, or it's been torn, or it just doesn't look very good. So when I was planning this build, I was trying to think of a way that I could do it where it would look alright and there'd be less chance of it coming down over time. And I do think that I've struck on something. Obviously this isn't fully set up at the minute, but I'll show you what I've done, and I think it's a good method, and in the future I'll tell you if it works or not. So when we come down low here, it is actually quite obvious to see that we have the front runner of the vivarium here, and then behind the glass there is another sort of barricade thing. Now what this is made out of, it's made out of offcuts of wood, so I'm showing you one now. In the packaging for these vivariums, we did get like long pieces of this that were the exact length of the vivariums, so it was easy to just shove them in and bang them down a bit, and it's a nice snug fit. And then around the bottom of those wooden barricades, I did put some silicone just to seal them into place. But then we have covered those with pond liner, and I'll show you how I did that now. So here you can see that I've roughly sketched out a net, and this is what we use to make the pond liner the right size. So we got like a big roll of pond liner and then cut out the shapes that we needed. So this checkered line, that is where the base of the vivarium is. So that sits flat on the base of the viv. Then these bits fold upwards, if you can imagine that, and they go around the sides, and then this folds up and then goes over the barricade. So I'll show you what this bit's like now. You can kind of see from this side angle that pond liner goes on the back side of the barricade, and then it comes down, and then I just folded it up behind the runner and of course siliconed it at the edge so that we've got a nice seal. This is the same in this other vivarium, but it's a little bit easier to see with the light in the other one. Now that idea perhaps isn't very revolutionary, and to be honest, none of this is. It's taking what other people have done and sort of concatenating it to make what I think is a better version. So of course, all along the sides here, we do have silicone all the way along. Big blob in that corner, unfortunately, but that's what happens. We've got silicone all the way around the pond liner, going all the way into that corner. And underneath this, actually, we do have silicone going on the veneer itself. This goes underneath the pond liner, just in case this does peel away at some point. But I have seen lots of people just use silicone, and over time it peels away. I want this to be permanent, really. So what we did, instead of just using the silicone, was we put screws intermittently into the pond liner. Now we actually did this before we put the silicone in. See another screw there. And then, so the pond liner was basically held up, and then we put the silicone in afterwards. So the silicone is not really taking much, if any, weight. The screws are doing that, it's just providing a seal, which is more what silicone is made to be used for than an adhesive. So hopefully this will stand the test of time. But as you can see, the vivarium's base is pretty waterproof. So in terms of waterproofing your vivarium, that is it for this video, and I do hope that has been very helpful. But if you are subscribed to this channel, or you'd like to, then you might be interested in why I've got 2 new vivariums. And yeah, 2 you may have noticed, because one's got the light in and the other hasn't, and one is actually set up already. But I will be talking about that more in the future. But I am going to be doing just a basic overview of these new vivariums. So this one over here is obviously not complete. The top runner's not on. Still waiting for a light to arrive for it. But this is going to be red the corn snake's enclosure. Now, this is much larger than his previous one. His other one was a large reptile vivarium measuring 115 centimetres by 37.5 centimetres deep and 37.5 centimetres tall. This vivarium is from Vivariums, and it's 150 centimetres long, 60 centimetres deep and 60 centimetres tall. The other vivariums got the exact same dimensions, but this is for red, so I'm going to be doing this whole thing as bioactive with all natural plants and wood and stuff in about a month's time. And the other vivarium, which is already set up partially over here, it's not completely finished yet, but this will be having an inhabitant in the next couple of days, which is really exciting because it's the first new reptile that I've planned to get since like a year and a half ago, which is really quite exciting. But anyway, I will talk about this more in my next video, which hopefully will be out on Saturday, but maybe Sunday, just because of how busy I'm going to be with the new edition on Saturday. But yeah, that is basically it for today's video, guys. And if you want to see more of these vivariums, then do click subscribe, and I will be making a more in-depth video of where I'm filming right now in the future, in perhaps the next reptile room tour. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.